How you doing? This is the art instructor, Neil at masterpaintingnow.com. You can go to the link, it's in the description. I have tons of free tutorials for you to watch, free lessons. I also have great courses for very inexpensive prices. People tell me they've gone to prestigious art schools and they've learned more from me than they did there, so it's definitely worth checking out. Right, so in this course it's kind of exciting, or this in this lesson, it's kind of, or tutorial, it's kind of exciting. How do you find the skeletal structure and the anatomy within drawings or within photographs? Now I recommend finding in photographs first because you have to get the anatomy down, and I recommend definitely taking my new anatomy course because you have to know anatomy in order to find this kind of stuff. But let's say this drawing here, if this drawing here confuses you, how would you go about finding it? Well, first think about the spine line. The spinal cord. So the spinal cord, we know, is going to run back here. So her neck is at an angle, right? The spine here is at an angle. So we know her neck is at an angle, and the spine is bending here like this. And it's bending forward. Or excuse me, think about the back. Think about the back. The spine is different. I was mixing different things. I was going right into the sternum. I was doing more of a flow line. Anyway, the spine is actually going to go in back of her, back here. So it's kind of, the neck's being bent, and then the spinal cord bends like this, and it's coming back and down to the pelvic area, to about the center of the pelvic area, right, somewhere around there, probably a little bit lower actually, but anyway, then you have the sacrum and coccyx and all that, coccyx. That's one thing to kind of pay attention to when you're trying to find it. The next thing to pay attention to is obviously the ground markers. For me, these are the collarbones, and we know they go around, and the scapula is back here. And so pay attention to the scapula, because this collarbone goes all the way up here to the deltoid, and it runs around back like that to the scapula. And now the scapula is coming down like this because the arm's being lifted up a little bit. And since the arm's being lifted up, the scapula is also being lifted up. The arm's also coming toward us a little bit. And the next landmark here, I pay attention to the scapula here. It's really being pulled out more because the arm is up. And the next thing to pay attention to, that is this part of the arm, by the way, is coming toward us a bit. The next thing to find, the next landmark, is the hip landmark. So what I think about is, well, where are the hip crests at? I know that the belly button right here, this is my line where the top of my hips are going to be. And I know that's where, legitimately at the belly button line is where your love handle should actually begin. And so this is a little bit actually incorrect. The drawing itself seems to be a little bit incorrect because you have the belly button right at the rib cage. Sorry, I got off a little bit on the wrong foot. It's a little different than that. Rather, the hips, right? You have the iliac crest. It's going to kind of come up and around, and at the top of the iliac crest, that's where the belly button is to be found, which is correct. And this comes down. You have the hips somewhere, like down here, like this. So it's that shape right there. And then you want to find the other one, which is over here on the other side of the spine. This one, wider, because the way we're viewing it, right? We're viewing more from a side angle, like so. And so the love handles connect on top of that. They connect all the way here, like this, all the way. Let me draw this in blue. They connect all in this part of the iliac crest, like that. So you have your love handles, You're not seeing as much of that one as you are of this one over here. You're seeing a lot more of this love handle here. So it connects like that. So that would be like a love handle and a love handle. Just erasing back here. Come on, there we go. Right, so we can see then when we have these markers, these anatomical markers down, it helps us easier draw what we need to draw. Right, so now what we have to do is have to find the rib cage, and the rib cage is actually going to be a little bit higher than there's like a space between the top of the pelvic bone, the iliac crest where comes the top, and the bottom of the rib cage, and the space is something I like about there. It could be a little bit higher, a little bit shorter, it depends on the person. And so you see the front, you have the front of the person here. We know that you have the, okay, my pin's not drawing now. I have to left mouse click to make it work again. we have the sternum fitting in this area here. This is like the center line. This is where the sternum is going to be. All right, this falls right in the center of between the two collarbones, or clavicles if you wish to call them that. And the rib cage comes off of that, and so it's a 3/4 view kind of a rib cage where it comes like about like that, and then it starts wrapping up. Now what happens here is on this side, we're not seeing much of the rib cage. And remember, the rib cage comes around and back over there like so. And because it's kind of a little bit of a 3/4 view, because the body's being turned a little bit this way, there's more from the center of the front center. There's more of the side of the rib cage on this side of the body than there on the right side, our right side, her left, than there is on this side. So that's how you would kind of draw the thing. And that's also, it kind of goes back like that, and then each rib goes around. So rib cage comes down like this, and the breast is setting right there on top of the rib cage as it should be. For the most part, this drawing is correct. It doesn't mean it's not without, it doesn't mean it's not without errors. I mean, drawings can have errors, and I don't know what just happened to my program. Hold on a second. Actually, somehow hit a shortcut and actually picked the wrong pen tool. But from here, we're also seeing the side, a little bit of the side of the rib cage. So if you kind of imagine, there's like this part right here that we're seeing, and we're seeing a little bit of the side of the rib cage as well from the side view. And so it's bigger. The rib cage appears to be bigger on this side than on the other side. And it's because we're viewing a little bit of the side view, the side plane of that rib cage. So if you think about the person here fitting into a box, oops. Well, actually, no, we'd have to do it the other way. First, find the corner. So you have a little bit of the corner here, and it's kind of like this. So we'll do it straight first, because even though it's slightly slanted. Right, we're seeing a little bit of the side view. We're seeing a lot of the front plane of the body here, and we're also seeing some of the side plane of the body. And so you think about it, fitting inside of like a cereal box type of shape or something. That's going to help you figure out how you're understanding the rib cage. So the rib cage is like something shaped like that, and then of course it's going to come up here, and you're going to have this part coming down here. This is probably going to be shaped a little bit more round, but that's pretty much how you're going to find that. That's where the rib cage goes. Spinal cord is coming behind us in the background there. And once you have these anatomical landmarks, from there it's really just a matter, the bones, where the bones go now. You have your arm bones in here. And so from that point on, it's just a matter of going, okay, so how do this bone comes this way like that. And actually the bones sometimes come all the way out to the edge over here and then start coming in. Now it's just a matter of putting the anatomy on top of that. But that's how you go about you find those landmarks. And if you're good at anatomy, you'll be able to find those landmarks. And once you can find those landmarks, then you can pop in these, the skeletal structure and go, okay, now how does everything fit onto that? So this is why when the torso is twisted a little bit away from us, you see this breast you see from a side view kind of, and this one you see from a front, and this one you see from a front view, right? And the breast still has to come up, and the pec muscles, which are attached here and up here. Let's do this in blue. This is anatomy, so again, I recommend watching my anatomy course to see this. It attaches here to here, and the pec muscles kind of come around, and they're being stretched upward because they're attaching up here to the humerus bone. Right, I'm not going to get into all the details of like it's like 3 muscles and stuff. So the women have that same exact muscle, but they have fatty tissue and glands that are attached onto that. But that same thing is being stretched up with the deltoid, going up to where the deltoid kind of attaches. And that's how come you see that kind of continuous line when the arm's up like this from the deltoid to the breast like that. So hopefully that kind of helps you start to figure out how to find the bone structure within a pose, to figure out what's going on with that pose. How is the pose being drawn, and why does it look the way it looks? It also can help you figure out, if you know anatomy well, it'll help you figure out if there are any mistakes within the pose or within the figure. And it's also how you can go about, drawing your own poses. If you want to draw like a sexy pose, you can kind of think about the simple skeletal structure and then go from there. So, you can be like, let's say you want to draw some sort of pose, and so you do like a really quick sketch. And you think, well, what if I really want her like twisted a lot, but her hips forward, let's say. So you can think about, okay, where's my head first? And you can also think about the overall length of the person. So you can go, let's say that's how tall my person's going to be. I go in here and I go, okay, where's my halfway point? This is if you just want to kind of get your proportions right. The halfway point between here and here, halfway point between there and there, and that's going to give you sort of your head area right in there. And then you start thinking about the anatomy. You go, okay, well, what's the person going to be doing? Well, in the front, from the front view, I'm just going to have the hips from the front view. And let's say it's a female, so the hips are kind of a little bit wider. Also, I'm going to think about the overall wideness of the character. About one head length wide. You don't want to go wider than that. The hips are going to be less wide than that even. So I'm going to have my hips coming out here like this. And that's like the iliac. That's representing that shape right here. This kind of pie shape is representing the iliac crest and everything. And so I have these two shapes here and here. And I know my love handles are going to start attaching here, and they're going to come up like this. Like that. And then my belly button's going to be somewhere in there. My legs are going to attach onto the bottom part of that same iliac crest, because my hip bones come out this way. Then I have my bone here. That's a kneecap coming down to the foot here, right? And it doesn't really matter what I'm going to do with the legs at this point. I'm just going to keep them kind of basic for now. I can always beef up the pose later and pop the hips at an angle or something. But for now, I'm going to keep this pose simple. And maybe this leg will kind of have coming outward a little bit like this. Right? So the hips are still staying forward. And then I think about my other anatomical marks. So now I think about my collarbones and my center line. So I'm coming up with my center line here, but I know it's going to twist. It's going to come up. It's going to kind of twist like this. Right? So what's going to happen here is I'm going to have my neck kind of coming out like this. I think about my collarbones. The center line is here. It's not directly in the center. It's over here more to the left-hand side because I'm having the body twisted. And let's say this collarbone's coming up like this. This collarbone's coming up like this because this one's going to be raised up. The arm is going to be raised up. Elbow's going to be out here somewhere. Hand. And so I have marks that I'm gonna try to meet, and that's how I think about it. But again, I still have to twist the upper torso around. And so to do that, I think about my center line. My center line is then coming over here and then down. So I know my sternum is like right about there somewhere. With these landmarks, it should be easy for me to think about how everything is how all the muscles are going to attach to it. I know my deltoid is coming up here. And it's coming down here. I know the pec muscles are coming up there and everything, but then the breast is sitting on top of the rib cage. I know my rib cage is coming. Dang it. My rib cage is kind of coming like this. And then over here, then I'm seeing a lot of the side view of the rib cage. So I'm going to be seeing the side view of the person over here. So my breast is going to be sitting on top of the rib cage, and, well, not down that far, but come on. I got something running in the background, so the drivers are being even worse with my Cintiq here. The other breast is going to be kind of more of a forward view. Oh, that's so annoying. It comes up to the deltoid or shoulder muscle, like that. And this arm is going to be coming down, let's say. Whatever hand is doing. So I have the rib cage coming in this way, rib cage coming in that way. Now the belly button has to kind of shift a little bit over, not much, but well, because what's happening here is there's a twist in this upper body and this is coming straight at us. And so you're having a twist in that center line. So your center muscle line of the belly comes like this, and it comes over here like that, and the belly button is right here. And then your muscles, man, that driver, oh, that's some nonsense. Man, I hope with the new Cintiq that's fixed or something. I've been trying to, maybe I should try the new drivers. Maybe they got a new driver that addressed the issue now. It's really happening bad. Okay, so now I know I'm starting to see a little bit of the side plane over here of the body, right in here. As this upper torso is turning, I'm starting to see some of the side plane. And so if I come up here to the arm, come on, really? Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Anyway, so it's happening way too much. Something's weird. I mean, my voice might be chopping up now. I don't know. It must be rendering, must be getting hot. That must be what my computer must be getting hot. Anyway, you have the hand doing whatever you have the hand doing. And you can have the head facing front ways, which means it's turning back toward us. Since the torso is turning this way, the neck has to be twisted a little bit for the neck to face, for the face to be facing us. Otherwise, the face should be kind of at a 3/4 angle. So she's kind of looking off, that way. Right, so that's kind of what happens there. If you're kind of looking up at the person at all, or down, it just depends on how much of this shape right here is going to happen with that breast. But so that's what happens if you just take your drawing from your mind and you're taking a front view here of the legs and the pelvic bone, but you're twisting the rib cage, which is up here. And so that's why you see more of the side view of this rib cage than you do over here. So you see more of the right-hand side, our right-hand side of the rib cage, than you are of our left-hand side of the rib cage. Right, so, come on. I'm done trying to figure that out. It's just irritating me now. All right, so that's how it is. If you want to try to find the structure, the understructure, the skeletal structure of a pose and try to figure out what's making this pose work, is it correct, is it incorrect, think about the anatomical landmarks that you can see within that drawing or within that photograph. A photograph is going to be correct, right? Unless it's photo manipulated. But drawings can have anatomical problems, like the person could have drawn it incorrectly. But you think about those parts, and that's how you find the skeletal structure within it. Hopefully this helps you in some way to improve your drawings by analyzing good drawings, ones that hopefully are correct, and photographs, and finding the skeletal structure within them, and that will help increase your anatomy that much more. And then once you know where the skeletal structure is, it's all a matter of knowing where the muscles attach to the bones, and then imagining where they're attached, or actually attach them, and do some sort of anatomical drawing underneath, and then do your skin over that, sketch over that. But again, you have to learn that, and my anatomy course will show you how to where all the muscles attach. And anyway, it's a really great price for 65 hours. You can't beat it for $29. All right, thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, if you've enjoyed this video, if it helped you in any way, please go ahead and click on the share button there below the video and share it to your different networks like Facebook and Twitter and so forth. That way other people can also benefit from it. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching.